Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hi, Dawn, Blair. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, Life Unscripted. I'm so grateful to have you here today. You're going to talk about your wonderful book, Me and Mr. Monks, the story of my special little rescue dog that saved my life. And boy, has he done a lot during a very difficult time in your life. And I'm grateful for you to come share that because a good part of our audience just loves dogs, including myself. I have a Henry Hobbs, a Lhasa Apso poodle mix. He's been such a blessing. But what brought Mr. Monks into your life, and how did he really affect your life?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And Mr. Monks came into my life Valentine's Day of 2015, so February 14th of 2015. My husband and I volunteered with a pit bull rescue group here in Richmond, Virginia, and we were doing a rescue adoption event at one of the rural towny shelters. And Mr. Monk's owner's mother came to surrender him to the shelter. And it just happened to be that she walked up to the pit bull rescue's table and not into the shelter doors. And the president of the rescue actually took him and, had her fill out paperwork. So he became my foster dog. February 14th of 2015. And he was my foster dog for 6 months and I couldn't give him up. So I'd never had another living, breathing creature look at me the way he did with such adoration that I couldn't give him up.
Oh, wow. And from what I hear, I wasn't able to get a copy of your book before we met here, but I heard you were dealing some real challenging health issues that he really helped you get past and deal with at the time. Share a little bit about that.
Well, yes. So I got him in 2015 and here about 2017, June of 2017, I started getting sick. I started having very mysterious symptoms. It started with these open sores that would come out of nowhere on my face. And they would not heal. And 3.5 years of this. I also had chronic migraines, chronic insomnia, severe numbness and tingling in my extremities, swelling in my lower legs. And then, I had an intolerance to heat. I couldn't be out in the sun. I felt like I was on fire. And then the sores moved to my legs. But I went to 26 doctors over a period of 3.5 years just to be told that I was crazy and that it was in my head or that I was doing it to myself. And Mr. Monks was a constant. He was always there with me. And he was a constant in my life. And it didn't matter that I had these disgusting wounds on my face, on my legs. It didn't matter that I felt horrible. He didn't care. And I do remember one particular time, I couldn't work as a full-time hospice nurse anymore. I had to give up my job because I couldn't leave my house. So I did take a dog training job. I'm a certified dog trainer as well. And I worked 3 days a week and there was many days that I couldn't go to work and they dealt with it fine. They understood that something was wrong with me. But there was one day in particular that stands out that I couldn't get the makeup to cover up these horrible sores. And I just collapsed on the floor sobbing and crying. I was totally inconsolable. And I looked up and in the doorway was Mr. Monks standing there staring at me with his little precious little face. Mm-hmm. And I knew right then, I said, I can't, because I honestly used to think of killing myself every day, all the time. Because I thought I was never going to get any help. This is just going to be a chronic thing. And nobody's ever going to be able to figure out what's wrong with me. And I was miserable. But at that point, when I saw him standing there, I realized that I couldn't leave him. And he was the one that made me keep fighting. Him, just himself, because he lived for me. And therefore, I felt like I needed to live for him.
Wow. Wow, they're such amazing beings. And you know what I get from dogs, dogs in particular, is that once you've built a bond with them, they're such animals of love and servitude. And it's one thing we could, as humans, learn from, that their gratefulness and their servitude. Like they always want to be giving and loving, and it's something that often we can really learn from. Now, when you were going through all this, were you able to come to a solution and find out what was wrong with you?
Well, yes. So August of 2020, I finally broke down and went to a functional medicine doctor, because I'd been putting that off because of having to pay out of pocket, this is an expensive illness. So she diagnosed me with chronic Lyme's disease. And I'd had it for years and nobody ever figured it out. Incidentally, that happens to a lot of people that have Lyme's disease. And by that time, because I'd had it for 3.5 years, it had completely destroyed my thyroid gland. It had completely destroyed all of my female hormones. I have to be on hormones now. And it had destroyed my adrenal gland. So I take a lot of supplements and stuff to try to help with that. But it has been a roller coaster ride with this illness.
Wow. For anyone listening in who might be listening to some of those symptoms and going, wow, it sounds like something I might be dealing with. Is this the same thing you get from ticks in the woods or something like that? Is that the same thing?
Yes, you can get it from a tick. You can get it from a flea. They just have to have the bacteria. And, my doctor says that I've had this for a long time and it lay dormant until 2017. And then it started to come out.
Yeah. Is it like the stress caused it to come out or something?
Yes.
Or wow.
Stress, even trauma. Like if I was to have surgery, it could have come out, but I think I was under a lot of stress back then. I bought a house soon after that. I was also working night shift as a nurse at a VCU health center, and then which is stressful enough in itself. But I also had my first pit bull die of a brain tumor that January, right after we moved into the house. And so all of those things compiled, I think just did me in.
Wow. And when you wrote your book, what were you hoping the message that you wanted to get out to the world?
Well, I wrote my book after I started writing it about 2 months after he died unexpectedly. And I would come home every day and I would sit on my couch and I would just cry. And I miss him more than I can really even say. I can't even express how much I miss him. But I wanted to memorialize him in the greatest way possible. And I wanted people to know what a wonderful creature and a wonderful little soul he was. He was the epitome of joy. That's all I can. He was joy personified, and I wanted the whole world to know it. I wanted to know what this beautiful creature did for me. He was amazing. And loved me unconditionally.
Wow. And from his life lived, what is the greatest lesson you've taken away from Mr. Monks?
Well, that you have to keep fighting, whether it be, any kind of physical problem or any kind of problem in life, you have to keep fighting. You also have to be an advocate for yourself. All the doctors I went to, they just wrote me off, and I kept going. I kept trying to find someone. I kept doing research, and you have to be you have to advocate for your own health, because no doctor is just going to step up and help you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm guessing some doctors might be like people who come in, oh, look, I did all this Google research and they're like, I'm a doctor, but you're inside of your body, you know what you're feeling, and to dismiss you and say, oh, well, it's all in your head.
Exactly. And they knew I was a nurse. And, I hate to say this, but a lot of doctors have problems with nurses.
Really?
So, every doctor I went to literally for 3.5 years until I met my functional medicine doctor, it was a total nightmare. I got to the point where I would have so much anxiety when I would go to a doctor's appointment. I had to take my husband with me. I couldn't go by myself because I would just have a meltdown. And I didn't trust him.
Mm.
So I had to always take somebody with me.
Now, do doctors per se, I'm guessing they're not all male, but is it also you being female that they have a problem with, or the fact that you're in the medical industry, but you're not a doctor?
Well, when you're a female, you kind of get written off a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because, she's crazy, she needs antidepressants, she needs to go to a psychiatrist. So I think when you're a female, doctors, female and male doctors write you off quickly.
Wow.
Like you're just like I got diagnosed with trichotillomania and dermatillomania because they said that I was causing these sores, that I was like taking objects and destroying my own face. And that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I don't know who would do that, but certainly not me.
Yeah. I mean, there might be people with that problem, but that wasn't you. It's frustrating. I mean, I've not had a doctor not listen to me. I had a good friend of mine whose mom went for 3 years like you, trying to find a diagnosis, and it turned out to be a thyroid issue that she, was told it's all in your head, whatever. And the sad part is she was also going through perimenopause. So there's those hormonal issues that, doctors just write off. Oh yeah, you're just getting old. It's normal,
Yeah. They love to say it's normal. No, it's really not.
No, these sores are not normal. I'm sorry. And feeling fatigued.
Open ulcers on my face are not normal. I mean, they weren't, at first I thought they were acne, but then it was very much, they were in my eyebrows. So they destroyed my eyebrows. And I have tattooed eyebrows now because I don't have any eyebrows without makeup. So that's where they showed up, and that's where they stayed for 3.5 years.
Wow. Well, I'm hoping anyone listening in who has some of these symptoms, as you said, do not stop fighting for yourself. And you mentioned functional doctors.
Yes.
What I like about functional medicine is that combination of alternative care plus modern care, but really working in tangent with the customer, with the patient, not saying, okay, I'm the doctor, shut up, let me just treat you. I find that functional doctors want to work as a team with the patient.
They do. You're absolutely correct. And my first appointment with my functional medicine doctor was over an hour long. And prior to meeting her and going up to Northern Virginia, she had 10 pages of blood work drawn.
Wow.
So she knows her stuff. Tests that baffled the lab. I was there for 3 hours at the lab because they couldn't figure out a lot of these tests. So, and she was so amazing. She says, well, I don't like doctors either. And she says, all of my patients have the same story. But functional medicine doctors they're a cut above the rest. They really are. And you're absolutely correct. They have a more holistic, way of treating a patient than your conventional medicine.
Well, I'm really hoping that all of medicine takes that route in the future, because I think it's just a better way to deal with it if the patient can be made a partner in the healing and you work on the whole body, not the little piece. It's a heart problem. Let's just look at the heart. Well, we have a whole body here and they're all interconnected. Let's work on the whole body. But it's been an inspiring story. You look super healthy now. How are things going today for you?
Thank you. I am out of remission. I was in remission I'm not in remission now. I'm out of remission. I was in remission for a whole year until Mr. Monks died. And the grief just brought me out of remission. And actually, my numbers were worse than when I was diagnosed. So I've had some really bad flares. I've had to take off weeks from work. I've gotten COVID. So we're trying different medications now, again, a different treatment regimen, and trying to get me back to being some way in remission. Hopefully, it's just a long road. Every time with this disease, it takes such a long time to get back in remission. It's not an overnight thing. I don't know if I feel like I'm getting a little bit better, but I definitely feel like I'm better than I was, let's say, in July, which is when I had a flare up, July or August. But yeah, I definitely feel better than that at that point. But I'm hoping that I will go back into remission at some point.
Yeah, I hope so too. Really, really soon. Now, is this an autoimmune disease? It seems like it's attacking your body. Is there inflammation involved?
Tons of inflammation. Yes.
Wow. Well, I really pray for your total recovery really, really quick, and you get out of this flare up and completely healed for the rest of your life, and find ways to not let it take you down. But you've done fabulous. You look amazing, even if you don't feel perfect right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But I'm really grateful that you were able to share not only Mr. Monk's story, but also what you've gone through. So anyone listening in, if they happen to be going through some of the things you're talking about, that they don't stop, they become an advocate for themselves. Look for a functional doctor in your area to help you work through. Do not accept you're just in your head, and get the help you need. Where can people find out more about you and get a copy of your book?
Well, my book is for sale on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and MrMonks.com. And also, Amazon has an author's page if you want to read anything more about me. And I also have a blurb on his website as well, MrMonks.com.
Awesome. Well, I just have to thank you again, Dawn Blair, for coming to share your wonderful story of Mr. Monks and what a great creature and amazing, loving guy he was. And I thank you for sticking in there, because you can be a hope to others who are also struggling. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too for having me. And I hope that it is an inspiration to other people that are struggling with any kind of illness or, disorder. I really hope my book does give them some inspiration.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dawn, for coming to Savvy Broadcasting.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more Savvy episodes and Savvy Biz Tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.